Boom. Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I am your host, John Harris. On my, I think he's just behind me. Oh, there he is. Left-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel.
We got a virus, so we need a black sails.
That's right. We have a virus, so we need black sails. Today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have ARRAYAN PATH, and they've got a new album called The Marble Gates to Apeiron, which is released on November 27th via Pitch Black Records. Right now, I'm being joined by Miguel to share some more information about this amazing record, what the band has been up to, and what they have planned. So, Miguel, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely great to have you on. Now, the first track that we're going to chat about here is aptly named Virus, and there's a particular virus that has taken over the world. Is that what this song is about, or is this a coincidence?
No, it's not a coincidence. Actually, this song was, the whole album was written and recorded during the pandemic. The music itself, I'd actually written this song a few years ago, and I'd just been sitting on it for a while, and then Nicolas, he had some ideas in his mind for a song. Then all this happened, and he then got the song I wrote and wrote lyrics for it. And this is during the early days of the pandemic, when there was still a lot of even more uncertainty than there is now. And he just wrote what he was feeling, which is what he does best. And it is about this specific and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is it then an entire, I don't know if I want to call it a concept album, but does the entire album then relate to the pandemic, or is it just this track, Virus?
No, just this specific track. The other songs deal with like ancient mythology, which is as I'll explain to you with the next song. But yeah, this specific song is about this time. So I felt it was quite apt to maybe chat about it today, and for people to have a chance to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, I guess my question is, you mentioned some uncertainty. What is the track about? I mean, how do you write a song about a virus, or is it just about that uncertainty that we were experiencing, say, back in March or April? Actually, that was North America. For you guys, you probably experienced it earlier than that.
Yeah, we did. It hit us before it hit North America. A lot of it is about the uncertainty, about the isolation, about people, being suddenly taken out of their everyday normal lives and put into a completely weird situation. People not being able to see their friends or families. And, with isolation breeds, other problems with, resentment, or kind of, actually sort of a topic that the song deals with as well, as kind of like the whole conspiracy thing that came out of, it was kind of fueled by the pandemic and by people spending a lot of time, trying to find alternative explanations to what's going on. And it's kind of like a study of how this situation has affected humanity so drastically. I mean, the last time anything like this happened was back in the 1918 with the Spanish flu pandemic. And back then the world wasn't nearly as connected as it is now. People weren't as mobile as they are now. People were a lot more, people had much more simple lives, shall we say. Not easier, but more simple lives. And now everything's like, the whole world is just kind of ground to a halt. So a lot of it's about that. And it's like how everything's just been put on pause. Everything's been restricted, and everything's been, curtailed effectively. And as a band, that affects us greatly because, we're not able to play live. We're not able to do all the normal things the band does. So yeah, it was a lot of it was a reflection on that.
Okay, that brings up another really interesting point. You mentioned, as a band, you can't play live, do the normal things, that a band does, especially with regard to promoting an album. I mean, that's the whole tour right there, is promoting the album. So I guess with regard to that, how has this year gone for you guys? Is it kind of as per normal? You were going to release the record at the end of November anyway, or have things been pushed out and you guys were hoping that this would be over by November?
Well, actually, in June, we were supposed to do a bunch of shows promoting our previous album, ARRAYAN, and we had actually some really, really amazing shows lined up in Greece, playing with Domini and War Drum, which would have been excellent shows. Those obviously got cancelled, and we had also another bunch of live shows we were planning to do here in Cyprus, which again didn't happen. So I think the fact that everything else kind of got cancelled, we talked with Nicolas, and we were like, okay, well, we should do something. So Nicolas was like, well, why don't we just record an album? And I was like, okay. So we just did. The whole album was. I mean, okay, again, Nicolas had a bunch of songs lying around. I had a few songs lying around as well. But actual work on the album itself started in the end of May. And then between May and August, the album was written and recorded. So, yeah, maybe the pandemic sort of helped accelerate the work on the album. But it was already kind of conceived before that.
Okay, I mean, that's got to be my question: were you guys gonna make this album anyway, or you just kind of felt like because you have some material kicking around, why not actually do something with the material that may otherwise just be sitting there if you guys were playing shows during that time between May and August?
Yeah, I mean, it was an album we were going to make eventually, but I think this whole situation just kind of brought it forward, really. I mean, maybe if we hadn't released it in November, we would have... the album would have been made. It's just a cycle of shows from the previous album kind of got cut off, so we got to work on the next one.
Yeah. Now, it seems pretty fast to me to write and record and produce an album in, what is that, 4 months or so? But I guess because the material was kind of already written, that helped.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had rough ideas of what songs we would write, and we had a bunch of things kind of ready, so that was already done. Then it was a matter of actually kind of demoing them, putting them kind of confirming their structure, confirming what they had in them, add in all the extra riffs and fixing lyrics and working on the structural things. So the majority of the material was already floating around. After that, recording wise, with today's technology, it's so much easier to record. Danny, our drummer, he recorded his drums at his house. He has a recording setup there. Guitars and stuff were recorded at a local studio here with Slaven Selic, he has a studio here in the vocals. All the keyboards and the symphonic stuff were just done, with sequencing software with some musicians we've worked with before. George Gadalis in the US, he did some of the symphonic stuff, and we also have Hussein Girmizi, also known as Japon, who we've played with before, who's in Cyprus. He did a bunch of things with, again, using sequencing software. And George Archelaus did another bit of the symphonic stuff. He's also here in Cyprus. I recorded the bass at another studio here, a friend of mine, Louis Serimi. And so recording-wise, it was all done fairly remotely, shall we say. We have the technology, we know the people, we have the skill, and then everything was sent to Italy for mixing and mastering. So again, with the technology today, it's easy to record, fortunately, compared to like 10, 15, 20 years ago when you would have to actually go to a studio somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, something you mentioned was some of the other tracks have to do with mythology, and you mentioned that we'd be touching base on. You mentioned we'd be touching base on that with the other track that you wanted to chat about today, Black Sail.
Black Sail. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about that track.
Okay, well, Black Sails it's the story of Theseus, the guy who went into the labyrinth to kill the Minotaur, and his basically, he was sent out on this mission. It was a very dangerous mission, and before he left, his father Aegis basically told him, "Look, when you return, make sure you put up a white sail." Because that way I know I'll know you've survived. And if you don't survive, the crew will put up a black sail, so I'll know you didn't make it. So in the story goes that Theseus, he went into the labyrinth. He found the Minotaur, success. And in his excitement, he got on the ship and he was sailing back home, and they forgot to change this. So Aegis saw over the horizon, he saw the black sail coming in, and in his despair, he threw himself off the cliff into the sea, and he died. And that's how the Aegean Sea got its name. That was the story.
Okay. Cool. I guess my question is. Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is. When it came to choosing mythologies for the album, are they all related to the area, like Cyprus, Greece, Italy?
Mostly we deal with ancient Greek mythology. It's such a rich history. There's such a rich mythology with so many different stories and characters, subject matter. And not even just mythology. In our previous album on Arrayani, we did a song about the Battle of Thermopylae, which is an actual historical event. It's not always just mythology. It's quite a bit of ancient Greek history as well. In Cyprus, obviously, we have a very close history with Greece, but here where we are, we've been affected by so many other civilizations and cultures over the centuries, so it's become a bit of a melting pot. We have done in the past some other things. I think we're relating to like Roman history. The album before last, Dawn of Aquarius, we dealt a lot more with we went sort of more Eastern and went into like a Indian Hindu mythology and stuff, which was it was an interesting break. But the ancient Greek mythology is the main thing we focus on. That's the main thing we do.
Okay, very cool. Now you have to excuse my ignorance when it comes to Cyprus. What kind of mythology then would you guys have, or is it so mishmash between, say, Roman and Greek and whatever else? It's a mix of everything. I mean, we have ancient Roman ruins next to ancient Greek ruins. The center of Nicosia, the capital city, there's like these huge Venetian fortifications. In Larnaca, you have Ottoman castles. We also have in Limassol, another part of this country, we have castles that the Crusaders built because Richard Lionheart invaded Cyprus on his way to the Holy Lands, because why not? We're just in the way of everyone. We just got invaded by everyone over the years, so it's become quite a mix. But yeah, culturally, linguistically, we are much closer to Greece. Okay,
we speak Greek as main language. So I think people here have slightly deeper connections to ancient Greek mythology than anything else. But the other cultures all have quite a big impact. Even on our dialect, the Cypriot dialect contains so many Arabic, Turkish, Italian words, and it's just, if I speak in a very heavy Greek dialect, someone from mainland Greece will understand maybe half of what I'm saying.
Wow. Did not know that. Now, yeah. I guess maybe take us through a bit more of the record, some of the other mythologies that are there, because just following these track titles, it's almost like I could follow it, like the virus killed, so therefore there is a mourning ghost because of the virus. And it's almost like going through the pandemic, a mask of sanity. How much did the pandemic take away the mask of sanity? How do we return to the cardinal order? All
right. Yeah, it's so I guess that's an interesting approach. I didn't think of it like that, to be honest. Well, I guess the whole situation, maybe it affected in a subconscious way the way we're putting things.
Well, what I have across my desk is that the album is divided into three parts: the past, the present, and the future. So I guess maybe take us through how the album is structured in that way. Now, I also have that it's not a concept album, but it's structured in a way that it's divided into thirds. So I guess maybe take us through that. How does that work in the course of the album?
I think a lot of it has more to do maybe with the kind of vibe of the songs themselves, more to do than any sort of overriding concept. I think because the first few songs are a bit more kind of like traditional, shall we say, and especially the last three songs, they are weirder. They have a slightly stranger, more kind of progressive approach, especially Cardinal Order. The theme. I mean, the theme of the Cardinal Order is basically the Catholic Inquisition in the Middle Ages. It's actually not. That's one of the few ones that doesn't actually have anything to do with ancient mythology. It's about the way that Catholic dogma was forced upon people and how it was used as a form of population control. But the song itself is very progressive. It's got an unusual structure. Black Sails, again, that's also has an unusual, strange structure for a song that we would normally do. It's got some very odd atmospheres and textures, which are fairly unlike anything else we've done so far. Both those two. Silent Masquerade, which is the one that's the lyric video on YouTube, that's got a very weird breakdown as well in the middle. So I think perhaps that's kind of like maybe where we're headed in terms of musically speaking, structurally, sonically, and kind of conceptually. It's kind of going in a sort of different direction, and it's pretty interesting. I think where this could take us. The first three songs, they're more like the kind of traditional thing that people would expect from us in terms of music, in terms of vibe and things. And for the center bit, I think that's an accurate representation of where we are now as musically as a band.
That's going to be kind of my question, where that's heading, in that instead of traditionally going out and playing shows and touring and whatnot, are you guys working on writing maybe the next record? And if so, those little glimpses of, as you said, weird things, is that kind of where you're headed? And it sounded like you said that you kind of are. And I guess go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, perhaps it is. I mean, the songs get written fairly organically. Like we have an idea, it comes out, and whatever comes out comes out. like Virus. I started off writing that as a kind of very sort of like a more mid-tempo epic song, but then one day I kind of listened to it again. I was like, yeah, this is boring. So I just jacked it up by like 50 BPM and changed a few things and became like a power metal song. So that, I think that's a fairly accurate idea of what we have in mind. Or Nicolas will have a riff in his mind or an idea or melody in his mind. He has a general beat, and then we sit down and we work on it, and something fairly different might come out as a result, or something quite close to what his vision.
Yeah.
So,
now, with
as far as where we're headed is kind of like we think this is where it's going. Maybe it'll carry on that way. Maybe it won't. It's because it's one of those things that you never know until it's done.
Yeah. Now, I guess my big question then is, what should we expect maybe for the next little bit? Are you guys doing like any live streams, Q&As, anything like that? Or what
we have a few things, like we're kicking around a few ideas that will start crystallizing sooner rather than later, because the album is coming out in about a month's time. So yeah, I think I foresee we'll probably do some sort of like online streaming thing for our international fans. Here we were kind of thinking about doing some like a very kind of like small scale, low key release party at an appropriate venue here, like appropriate location to just hang out with some people, listen to the album, have a couple of beers, and that's it really, because an actual proper live release show is not an option at the moment. So that's one thing we could do. Live streams, we considered it. It might be something we might do a bit further down the line. But yeah, we're guessing we'll do try to kind of connect with the fans in a remote fashion with the various ways that are possible now.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Well, Miguel, that concludes my questions. We covered a couple of tracks off the album itself, what you guys have been up to. Unless you have anything else you wanted to bring up, I just wanted to thank you for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast.
Oh, thank you for having us, and for taking the time to listen to our music and connect us to your listeners. And thanks to everyone listening. Hope you enjoy the album. Hope you enjoy our songs, and get a chance to check out our previous work as well. You might find something you really like.